a sound check real quick. I don't know what is going on. I do not know. Let me see this. Okay. Okay, we have sound. We have sound, y'all. I don't know what was going on earlier. I have no idea what's going on. Okay. I tried to do multiple things and stuff just was not working. I don't know. I think that was a YouTube glitch though, because even the way that this setting is, I was looking, it wasn't looking like that before when I first went live. Anyway, so yeah, hi, work with me. We're gonna be taking care of a few things, and I want to talk about like the state of how things are. Of course, I want to do a spiritual mental health check in with you guys because I think checking in with mental health is just as important as spirituality. And I think I was going to talk about business over everything. And I think that that's why, energetically, why things got shook up the way that they did when I tried to go live the first time. So I'm going to delete that first live. Because like y'all couldn't even hear me, so I don't even know. And the thing is, this is the part that's like weird to me. I was live for like several minutes, and then somebody came in and was like, "We can't hear you," and I'm like, "So what are all these people doing up in here, just looking at a muted screen for?" That's the part that was getting to me. I'm like, and then I get off the live, and people like the live stream. I'm like, "What are y'all liking? What are you clicking the video and liking? What exactly?" I don't be understanding that. I don't know if it's like OG supporters who just like my stuff regardless of what it is we're talking about or what happened. I'm just like, what? But anyway, all right. But we are taking care of business simultaneously. So I'm working, doing some things. Yesterday I did some data entry stuff so that I could have a data system for individuals who I would like to contact for the different projects going on. Um, for different topics, but if y'all have been watching my other streams, I have been talking about how my family recently uncovered a story that was essentially hidden by the government. And so, now that our story has been told, we're working to do everything to keep that story alive and to advocate for other people as well so that none of our voices are ever covered up ever again. You know what I'm saying? So, with that being said, um, what just happened here? I'm gonna have to make this level because I can't do any disruptions. Okay, is this level? Okay, now it's level. Don't get uneven now. All right, all right. And so with that, um, we're in the process of doing several different things. For one, y'all already know I already started my company and I put the LLC into action this year. I announced it last year and then I did share a picture with you guys on the community board. Well, I'm also gonna make an announcement for y'all to subscribe to my other channel, not my vlog channel, my other channel. So if you go to the community board and tab, you'll be able to see what I'm talking about. There you go. Frank Jones said, "Hi, are your day going today? How is my day going today? My day is going very. It's going interesting. I'm not gonna lie. It is interesting. I'm peeping a lot of stuff, so I wanted to do this spiritual mental health check with everybody. It has been quite a wild day. Um, so if you all have experienced anything, why y'all tripping? Because I have what? Lord. Let me just try this. Let me try this first. Hold on, because these folks, I swear. Bro, what? Oh, God. Oh, somebody, okay. BM Bum said happy poop. Sent a happy poop. Okay. I guess the stickers are different here. I haven't been on socials in a minute, so I don't know how to use the stickers all the way. That's cute though. Thank you. Thank you so much for the happy poop. Kim Chuck said, "Hi, how are you? Where are you?" I'm all right, like I said. I am all right. It has been weird, that to say the least. Everything has been very weird this past day. And I don't know what the heck is going on right now. I'm really y'all I can't even say adulting. Just existing right now doing this matrix stuff is so exhausting. Like I am not understanding why everything has to be the way that it is right now. It's very annoying. Kim Chuck said, like, are you in your house? Oh, I mean, oh, okay. Jean said, you have a beautiful mustache. Thank you so much. Everything about me is beautiful. I really do appreciate that. Okay. Okay. Antonio Mills said, good afternoon. Good afternoon. Rosa Rages said, floating heart. Much gratitude. Much gratitude. Appreciate that so much. Oh, yes, yes, yes. And I'm glad you sent that too. Because I'm doing this spiritual mental health check right now. And just seeing how all y'all are doing. Because I'm doing well. It's just, I know today has been weird. Today has been weird. And I'm like, okay, what is this energy? Because even right now, I'm trying to do my work and just talk to y'all and chat a little bit. And there's something doing a block. And I'm like, what is this about? What even is this about? Because, okay, in a literal sense, I just unblocked a situation. But let's see how everything goes. Bro, what in the. Okay, hold on. Oh my God. Like, that's what I'm saying. It's just weird stuff happening. I am not understanding. Yo. And it's like, I'm okay and I can handle life. It's just, what is going on? It's just weird. Um, Kim Chuck said, your hair is very nice. I appreciate that so much. One Wortman say, hey, Ellie, what's good, Win? Engel Racing said, you don't seem well. Your energy is way off. Well, that's unfortunate for you. Um, Rose and Ray just said, very balanced and aligned. That's beautiful. That's great. McLovin said, hey, beautiful. Hello. Antonio Mills said, you're so damn beautiful. Just saying. I appreciate that so much. Engel Racing said, but are you sure you're okay? A Con Ghost Cosplay said, hey, everyone. Hey, how you doing? Marissa B said, hello, my God, you're pretty. By the way, I'm a girl. My name is Hadley. Why does it spell my name wrong every day? Oh, okay. Hi. Kim Chuck said, you're very beautiful. Yeah. Um, Karina said, hi, how's your day going? My day is going very interesting, but, always grateful. Always grateful. Because, like, for example, I had started the live stream a few minutes ago, and it was like messing up. Like there was no audio. And I was like, okay, I don't know what that's about. at all. I don't know why that would happen. And then like some other stuff happened earlier today before I even got on the stream. And so irrelevant from the stream, it's just an example of just like why things being weird, why things being strange. Like even right now, stuff's just being weird. I am not understanding what's going on, and I'm just because right now I'm just trying to finalize something. Like that's the thing. I'm at the home stretch, and that's I mean, it's like attack from the enemy. Not to be like woo woo or like weird about stuff, but sometimes that's just straight up what it is. Like when you're trying to finish something, it's like any sort of distraction just comes in and becomes not a burden but a difficulty. It's just annoying because I don't even understand what's going on right now. I'm not even in a space of trying to resist what's going on. I'm trying to, finish what it is I'm doing, and stuff's just giving me issues. I'm like, I've never seen this before. It's weird. Aaron Silva said hi. Hello. Kim Chuck said I like your hat. I appreciate that so much. Okay, let me bro. Oh my god. This is just yo, I am not understanding. Okay. Okay. Amarian Stark said, "Hey Empress, is your feet smelly?" I'm not answering that question. Kim Chuck said, "Do you have a pet?" Yeah. I knew the chosen said, "Peace, goddess. What's good?" Um, Cytonic Space said, "Don't ban me for telling the truth." You're all right. Yeah. But anyway, like I said, I do want to know how y'all are doing within the collective spaces, just in general, how y'all are feeling as well. Because, like I said, the project I'm working on is really really important, and so getting it finished and complete, obviously, is very needed. And so, when it comes to having whether in general like difficulties or whatever, it's more of a it's a spiritual thing because that was what me and um my significant other were talking about, my purpose partner. We're like, yo, it's got to be a spiritual attack going on or something. It's got to be something going on because there is no way for these random situations to be happening simultaneously because it's like beyond normal, It feels like normal. It's like okay, but everything at once, that's crazy. Okay, now give me 1 second. I gotta get my other laptop. Okay. So yeah, so I shouldn't be having to do all this. I don't know what the heck is going on. I'm just like, yo, I got my information here. I got my debit card here, and I'm trying to do this thing, and y'all being weird. Like, don't take my money in a weird way. Take it righteously. Like, what is going on? Like, jeez. Cytonic Space said, "Look at that Adam's apple." That's why you be getting banned from people. I'm trying to because your other comment didn't make no sense. Like, talk about they'll ban you. It's like you didn't say anything for me to ban you, but now you saying stuff. That's why you be getting banned from people. You make people not like you. Okay. You have social issues. That's what that is. Okay. Kim Chuck said, I'm doing good, but I'm a little sick. That's unfortunate, but it's getting cooler outside, so yeah. I knew the chosen said, is that your ether goddess? It is not. I have a sew-in. My hair is this long just about. I just don't want to straighten it. So I got to sew in to match my hair texture and the way it looks. That was in the other stream where I was flat ironing it and explaining why I do that. But that's a part of glamour magic and understanding. Okay, and understanding how to manifest your reality. So by buying fake hair and doing some other things, but specifically with my hair growth journey, buying fake hair is how I was able to manifest having long hair. Bro, I am not. This is the most ridiculous thing right now. I'm gonna have to call these people, and I can't do that with y'all on live. So what I'm gonna do is let me see if I can work on something else while I'm talking to y'all, because I can't take that phone call with y'all here. That's a little too private. But what I can do is just share a little bit of stuff. But like I said, mental health check. Because we could talk about spirituality all day, but like with the reforms happening and understanding today's climate in general, and knowing who you are, not to be like super duper deep about it, but like, okay, over the holiday season, a lot of people's families start contacting them for invitations and stuff like that. Throughout the year, not just holidays, are you communicating with your relatives? Like, are y'all having like meaningful conversations? Not like, oh, did you hear what our cousin did last week? Like, no, not that type of stuff. I genuinely mean like, are y'all estate planning, um, talking about retirement, insurance policies, like things that matter? Are y'all doing that? Are y'all taking care of things that matter? Because you even okay. Even talking about spirituality, it can get iffy with people because not everybody has the same beliefs all the time, and that's okay. Um, it's just understanding and respecting those boundaries, but still being real about what needs to be taken care of. Kim Chuck sent a happy poop. Much gratitude. You sent two happy poops. I mean, I'm pretty sick. Oh, okay, that's unfortunate. Make sure you're drinking tea. Oh yeah, Anu. No, it's not. Anu said, Mr. Fro. I don't care. You know, not to. It is what it is. You know what I'm saying? Like that is my style, and is what I choose to do. My afro was not a political statement. It really wasn't. I don't really understand why it was taken as whether it's a political statement or a movement action or something to be seen on a camera. I just had short hair at the time, and having an afro was a manageable hairstyle, and it was convenient for me. It had nothing to do with y'all. So I don't really care what you miss. This is my current reality as of right now. That's not really something that men should care about anyway, because I could tell you're not a woman. It is very strange when men make comments like that, especially considering the fact that you're not contributing to the well-being of myself as a person. So, I mean, do you have a hair care company where you want me to showcase how your products work for hair? And that's why you want me to show my afro? Or you're just talking and sharing your opinion that I didn't ask for. This stream is not about that. Had you said that in the stream about my hair, I would have a totally different response. Totally different. You know what I'm saying? But we're talking about work right now. We're talking about mental health versus depending solely on spirituality as far as like an escape from life. But you're bringing that up totally random and unprompted, and it's just like you're a man, so I don't. It doesn't. No, you're not my man. You're not my dad. You're not my brother. Your comments don't matter, and I don't think people tell you guys that type of stuff enough, so you don't understand, and that's why you feel okay leaving comments like that on women's posts. So I'm going to go ahead and let you know that that was completely unprompted and inappropriate for you to bring up because it doesn't matter. On top of the fact that I've explained that, I have explained why I have a sew-in. So, like I said, if you had watched the other stream, you wouldn't even ask that question. Also, you wouldn't have made that follow-up comment. Was there anything else I needed to do? What I can do with y'all is I could let y'all see a preview of what it is I'm doing. Let me pull up this other website first. But yeah, I'm not getting on your ass. I'm just too real for all the political correctness that social media influencers do, and also I'm not going to go off on you in a argumentative old social media type of way that people like to do and like argue with people in the comments. No, I'm not going to do any of that. I'm just letting you know that you should just be quiet sometimes. You don't have to say all your thoughts. People have opinions, but your opinion about another person does not matter if they didn't ask about it. Now, if I said, hey, do y'all like my sew-in? Then, yeah. You know what I'm saying? But let me see. This is the preview. Of what we're going to be showcasing on the blog when I get it done, because that's what I was trying to do. And then it just was being weird. So this is what I was referring to as far as like not trying to be too deep into the climate of today's time necessarily, but it is important. Okay, so better the reparations, lessons U.S. of America learned in 2025. Readers are encouraged to apply information to their own lives and professions to educate and encourage colleagues through DEI removals and reductions, funding decreasing actions, information scrambling, and discourse sown amongst the public. The country experienced 2025 in a very unique fashion. All right. Just like James Hadley reached out to President Franklin D. Roosevelt in 1939, the author followed her great-great-uncle's footsteps and reached out to federal authority for an understanding of civilian experience this year, 2025. Okay? And so the author sent a letter and received a response from President Donald J. Trump about unrighteous actions of law enforcement caused by prejudice. So I did send a letter to share the reflections of what happened in the past versus what's going on right now, and essentially how things are being repeated. So yeah. Throughout this blog, notice the correlations, confirmations, and synchronicities with your own life. Notice the symbolism in photos and videos shared. See how the shared resources can benefit you, your business, and your family. All right. So that's why it's showcased in the form of a blog and not just, you know what I'm saying? I'm not just talking about my story because it's my story. I am sharing in a public space what is here to heal everyone. Doing that research, that's why I brought up the conversation. Are you communicating with your family? Doing the research on your family to understand who you are at the core, what your family has gone through generationally, what wounds does this open up, and heal those wounds from the inside out before you start putting band-aids on stuff. You have to treat whatever is going on internally. You got to detox. Okay, let me read what y'all saying. Okay. Um Kim Chuck said hi again. Annette Coombs said hi. I knew the chosen said it was given Angela Davis. I heard that a lot. Like I said, I was not trying to make a political statement. It just happens to be that way, you know? Respect to Angela Davis. It's just I'm Tiara Elise Hadley. I'm not Angela Davis. Um Kim Chuck said, hope you're happy. Yes. I know the chosen said, apologies, goddess. I understand. Much gratitude. You know what I'm saying? Fred Chambers said, what is the worst date ever been on? Oh, what's the worst date I've ever been on? That's none of your business. Derek Cheney said, right. Cowboy Christian McCarthy said, what's the topic? We're floating around. There is no specific topic. I'm just doing some work right now, and I just shared an example of what my work is. Um, Fred Chambers said they're not going to give us respirations. Well, I'm sorry. I read respirations, but I knew you meant reparations. That's why, if you pay attention to the context, the title of the blog is better than reparations. So this particular piece here is not asking for reparations. That's why it's framed in that way. Cowboy Christian McCarthy said Trump's policy not benefiting me. I'm trying. Okay, cool. Yeah. It's not benefiting. Oh wait, hold on. What's your ethnicity? Are you white? Because I'm trying to understand why you would say that. Because if you're black, obviously, but if you're white, I could understand why you're saying that. Fred Chambers said new young people have no respect at all. I don't know what prompted that comment. Okay, so here's context to the reparations conversation. All right. Better the reparations? What could be better than reparations regarding an Afro American family? In 2024, the answers to questions asked for decades, finally came to the surface. A mysterious death in the family in the hands of the government, at the hands of the government, and covered by the same entity. And so it goes on to talk about my great grandfather, Philip Hatley, has a story for generations to learn from. And the title of this specific piece is called Better Than Reparations, Solving of a Mystery Haunting an American Bloodline. And this was written January 19th, or earlier this year. Okay, you're black. Yeah, yeah. So obviously, the new policies are not going to benefit black people at all, one bit. Understood. Black people are indigenous anyway. If you're a black American slave descent, yeah. Okay. But yeah, that is the sneak peek of what is going on. And I'm going to share this here. There will be a service that you all will be able to get if you have an organization or you work with one. Now, if you do not have an organization, I would not recommend this. I just wouldn't. Reading the blog in totality itself, that's all I would recommend for you if you are not representing an organization. But if you are representing an organization, considering the policies and everything that we have talked about in previous streams and what we're discussing even here, that is who I would recommend this to, okay? All right, and these are the different photos we took this year. And this is what I was talking about when I was saying being spiritual in real life, practicing ancestor veneration out loud and not just, in a way that you're just going to post it on social media, like actually doing it. Okay. And then we're going to go here. This is my information. So, like a lot of people's mental health revolves around like I, I guess ignorance or just not having clarity on what has happened in their past, because learning the information that I learned about my family helped me to understand, okay, well, this is why these things happen. This is why, I behave this way, or if this family member behaves that way. It makes a lot of sense when you have generational gaps of information that's vital, because it's like, okay, not to be mean, but if a person in your family didn't really do much with their life, then whatever they did do being forgotten isn't so bad. It's like, well, this family member, like knowing the lineage is like, well, this family member did this, they had these kids, and okay, cool. If they didn't do anything significant, they didn't go to college, they didn't specialize in something and become like renowned and known for it. Um, if they weren't like a key point in the family, those family members, they don't, it's not necessarily like a career or community thing, but in the family, they're like that person. They are the patriarch, they are the matriarch of the family. Like that key person, if they're not even that, is not like so bad or terrible that their legacy is forgotten because they didn't leave one. This particular situation was kept away from us. So that's why it was so significant to learn the information. It was hidden. It wasn't just, oh, this person was irrelevant, they didn't do much. Like, no, this person was very, very relevant and they did a lot. And their death signified a lot. Cowboy Christian McCarthy said every black needs to buy land and probably join the military. What's your spiritual beliefs? Um, I'll mm, I'll start with the spiritual part first. I am a Hebrew Israelite, so I am a direct descendant from God. Yeshua is my big brother. I'm from tribe of Judah, and that is that on that. As far as spiritual, like I do practice ancestor veneration, like a lot of things that people consider to be like new age, all that stuff's in the Bible regardless, like understanding the metaphysical properties of crystals, herbs, and different things of that nature. It's all biblical. And so as long as you're doing it along the guidelines that God said, and you're not like, it's like if I was to resurrect my great grandfather so that he can go attack people for me because they hurt my feelings, that would be absolutely totally wrong. In this particular instance, I brought up my paternal bloodline in order for answers to be provided. And that's exactly what happened. So that's where I'm at as far as like my spiritual beliefs. I don't say every single thing online, but that's the gist of where I'm at with it. I've shared a lot of stuff on my platform. So if you have like a whole lot more questions, my channel is full of the different things that I have done over the years. But Bible based, we're indigenous to the planet. And you know what I'm saying? It is what it is when it comes to that. Oh, also what you said before, as far as like black people owning land and probably joining the military. That's what one of the things about my great grandfather. He was a veteran and he was killed by police. So it was like a whole situation about that. And owning land, I do agree. Mm-hmm. Okay, that's dope. You did your research on that. Yeah. But, yeah, absolute fact. And so what I just showed, like, of course, I had the graveyard pictures, and then I had like pictures of me standing with a microphone on a stage at the podium. Those were things to showcase an example of what everybody needs to be doing. Now, is everybody's story going to be shared on a stage? Not necessarily, and that is okay. Like on top of that, I just showed y'all the blog, and I have shared that a biography is coming out about my family as well. So if you want to take it that far, this is the thing. If you want to take it that far, you can. Podcasts, radio stations have talked about my family. this year. So if it gets to that point, that is your choice to push it and allow your story to be told in that regard at that level and scale. At the same time, it's important to do regardless. My family has been involved in genealogy with our bloodline for generations, regardless of any sort of public recognition. So it's not about the public recognition, it is about ensuring that your story is kept alive within the family so that everybody knows who they are and is not lost. Because everybody thinks that having jobs and getting an education is going to heal what's happening within the black community. It's like, oh, well, the young boys and the young girls they just need stuff to do. They need stuff to do in the community, and then that's going to help. Again, that's band-aids. That is not a detox. A lot of those things aren't even topical treatments. You could ask those children, who's your great grandmother? And they'll have no idea. Like I understand like, oh, it's my Mima, or oh, it's my the little nicknames that people give to their parents and their grandparents and whatnot. And they may not know their government name. That's fair, but at least they know who they are and they have like stories about them and stuff like that. Like I did not have a personal relationship with my great grandmother maternally, but I know a lot of information about her. So I do know her government name too because that was passed down to me. That information was shared with me. And that's a good thing. A lot of people don't know who their great grandparents are at all. And it's like, okay, well, they act bad, they get ISS, they get suspended, they get expelled from schools all the time and all this other stuff. That's because that child does not know who they are. They don't have a sense of self. They don't have grounding within their ancestry. And everybody going to work, it's a single parent home. They're not being shown attention at home. Like, all these other things, all that gets solved with knowing self. It's really it's more simple than people think it is, but people think it's not correlated. It's like, well, how is knowing my ancestry going to keep my child from getting in trouble at school? Your child is getting in trouble at school because you have not told them who they are. You don't know who you are as a parent. So that child is going to feel like they need to act out to get attention. When you have these conversations, because that brings it back to spirituality as well. Like my family members are, a lot of them are founders or part of the founding teams at churches. And it's like whatever people feel about churches, churches in the black community have been a foundation and a pinnacle of evolution within the black community. Whatever people feel about Christianity, that is the truth. Most movements and most gatherings that help black people in the past happen at churches, if not at someone's house, which could have been someone's church. Churches start in houses and homes all the time. So taking all that into account, like that's why I try to bring it back to the new age people. It's like you can disregard your Christian beliefs all you want to, and that is okay to not say you're not a to say that you're not a Christian anymore. It's totally fine to say, I believe in Christ on my own terms. I have a relationship with Christ. I read the Bible on my own. I am not a Christian, and I do not go to church. I do not subscribe to that religion. That is okay. From a historical perspective, you have to respect the church for what it did do up until, I'll say, the civil rights era. After the civil rights era, you can say that that's when the church really started to get money hungry and just start doing stuff for I'll say for the clergy's personal gain rather than for the community genuinely. Do churches still do things for the community? Yes, they do. At the same time, uh, I can always take it back here. Churches were part of the Underground Railroad. Okay? You can't disregard facts in history. You can't just say that because I'm not a Christian anymore, I'm not going to acknowledge this entity. The entity of the black Christian religion is how people were literally freed from slavery. As backward as it sounds, it's like, well, Christianity is what kept us in slavery for so long. And then Christianity was also the way out. You have to accept that and understand that in order to heal and move forward. It's okay to not be a Christian today. We know what it is now. At the same time, Acknowledging the steps that Black Christians took coming out of slavery, that's what's important. Cowboy Christian McCarthy said, "Facts. I've been building legacy." That's good. I knew the chosen said, "I'm from Africa, so they do a lot of chicken and goat killing for ancestors." So, what is your insight on that? I don't have any insight on that. I'm not African. I don't believe in animal sacrifices. I don't do that. I don't participate in that. At the most, you know, my partner and I may do a thing with a lamb, but I have never done it and I don't necessarily plan to do it. I don't have any comments on that. I speak to Black Americans. I don't necessarily have much for anyone who's not a slave descendant. If your people did not come out of slavery in the United States, I don't really have much to say because I can't speak from that perspective. Spiritually, physically, historically, I don't have any of that. I'm not an immigrant. Amelia Carter sent 100. Much gratitude. I appreciate that so much. Cowboy Christian McCarthy said, "Yeah, I noticed that a lot with kids today." Exactly. They, it's not their fault. That's the thing that I try to get adults to understand. Being an adult now, like I've been an adult for a minute, but I'm like really an adult now. I'm in my late 20s. It's like you cannot blame children at all. You can't. It's a child. That's like blaming a baby for crying. It's a baby. They're gonna cry. It's a little kid at a store. They're gonna act out. Um, it's a teenager. They're gonna get an attitude. You can't be upset with them for acting their age or acting according to their circumstances. You cannot get upset with them. What you can get upset with is them getting to a certain age and then completely disregarding all the principles instilled in them. You can be upset with that once they're 16, 17 years old. It's like you gonna sit up here and act like you didn't get taught all the things you got taught. It was okay when you ignored me at 11 years old and you corrected yourself at 12, but then to act like you didn't correct yourself at 12 years old, now you're gonna sit up here at 16 and a half, 17 years old and act a fool. That's not okay. You know what I'm saying? So if they're not getting corrected early at age 10, 11, 12, 13 years old, they're gonna be 17, 18, 19 years old, acting a complete fool in the streets, being a legal adult, doing whatever they want to do, being crazy. It's really weird to me how people haven't fully grasped that. It's like, oh, well, they're a teenager now, they're on their own, or they're grown now, being like 18. They're grown now. They're on their own. I don't have to do nothing else for them. It's like that's slow to think and believe. That doesn't make any sense. Everybody needs assistance and guidance up until I still need help, assistance, and guidance. I'm doing this family project with my family. I'm almost 30 years old. I'm still benefiting from the family tree that has its roots settled. But that's the thing. Our family tree roots are being nurtured. We water them, we fertilize them, speaking figuratively, but in a literal sense, I know who my family members are. I have a relationship and I have communication with my relatives to some sort of extent. I'm not completely disbanded from people. I understand, with some circumstances, some people completely detach themselves from their family members, and I totally understand that considering the circumstances that there may be. But when you're talking about legacy building, that's not smart because the legacy is a tree. You have to nurture the roots in order for the branches, the limbs, and the leaves to be healthy. And once those things are healthy, then you can produce prosperous fruit. You can produce seed, even pollen. You can produce pollen. You can produce the things that help growth. So when people aren't thinking on that level and everything's emotional, it's like, well, these kids should just act right. They know how to behave. They don't. And they're fragmented from their ancestry. Y'all keep teaching about Dr. Martin Luther King every February. I didn't learn that Kwanzaa was a Black American holiday until I was an adult. I thought Kwanzaa came from Africa. No, it was made by Americans. It's African American, But that's because we didn't have the right terminology. Now we understand we're not even African Americans. We're not even from Africa, a lot of us. And if our people are from Africa, it's so far beyond. We shouldn't be called African Americans because we're not immigrants. We're just Americans. I understand the first, second, and third generation African American. Yeah, your people just came here. They literally just moved here within the last few decades, and that's perfectly fine. That's perfectly appropriate. But you telling me that and most American slaves were mixed with Native Americans. So it's like you're telling me that I'm a slave descendant and I'm still being called out of this continent, on top of the fact that a lot of our people were born in the Caribbean and South America too. So that then you have um, the Latinos, the Latino part of our people as well. We're not even called South Americans if we're mixed with that. It's still, oh, you're black, you're African American. What sense does that make? It doesn't make any sense. But children aren't even being allowed to critically think that far. I didn't learn a lot of this stuff until I got into spirituality, started learning about the Hebrew Israelites, started reading my Bible for myself. So that's the mental health check. It's like, is everybody okay? Oh, DEI got removed. Oh, we're freaking out. The government shut down. They shut down food stamps for a while. Oh, what's happening? Listen. If God couldn't be any louder, if the creator couldn't be any louder, he's allowing the enemy to repeat certain cycles so that we wake up. We're supposed to wake up 5 years ago. All y'all remember back when the spiritual community was honest, like back in 2020, back in 2021. I don't know what the heck happened in 2022. I do not understand what happened in 2022. 2022, everybody got lost. Everybody got lost in 2022. I don't know what in the world happened. By the time we got to 2022, everybody forgot what they learned in 2020 and 2021. And I sat up here and was like, okay, so what I'm going to do is start a business and write down everything I learned during these past few years so that I can share it with more women. Not to say that men can't, purchase my stuff. It's just I intentionally made I made content, have free opportunities, and now am authoring a book for women to understand what we had been learning during those years of awakening. Because nobody should have been shocked by certain things. It was a bit surprising considering how it happened. But the fact that it happened, no surprise. There ain't no surprise. You telling me this man got shot at. Y'all remember, this man got shot at last year. And black people laughed. Publicly. On the internet. Because, all I'm going to say is, I don't know what the heck happened to phone calls and just like meeting up to go talk shit. People got on the internet. Not a group chat, not a video call, privately. Posted, went live on the internet and laughed at that man getting shot at. And I think they missed the plot where he got shot at. He did not get shot and killed. So, therefore, he's on a vengeance tour. I don't know how people didn't make that connection. It's like, y'all laughed at that man getting shot at, knew he was going to win because there was no way Kamala Harris was going to win with what was that, 3 months of a campaign? I'm going to look it up to get the absolute facts. Y'all gave Kamala Harris a couple of months to run for president. And really thought she was going to win. Laughed at him getting shot at. He won, and y'all didn't think he was going to take out his revenge the next year when he knew he was going to win. It said her campaign lasted 107 days. So about 3.5 months. That man's on a revenge tour. So I'm not surprised. So the fact that this stuff is happening is God letting all of us know, hey, do not allow these systems to control your next move. And this is what's learned about in entrepreneurship. You have to maneuver despite any sort of political climate. You got to be recession proof. Okay. Uh, There's a lot of comments. I'm sorry I missed these. Okay. Cowboy Christian McCarthy said, yeah, I noticed that a lot with kids today and my peers. Mark A. Houston said, hello, Empress. Hi. Herbie said, what do you think about the Arab slave trade? I'm not informed enough to give a comment. That is what I have to say about the Arab slave trade. I am not informed enough to give a comment. I'm too ignorant on the matter to share my thoughts. Cowboy Christian McCarthy says someone gonna discipline them in these streets. But that's the problem. That's gonna raise the incarceration rate. So I'm not coming at you, but what I'm saying is, well, however, what I am saying is your comment shows a mentality that has perpetuated what has been going on. So yeah, they're gonna get caught up in the streets. Absolutely. And then that's going to increase incarceration because whatever happens between that child that grows up crazy or the person who is dealing with them acting crazy, one or both of them is going to end up incarcerated, and then that contributes to recidivism, the jail system keeping a pipeline going in and out of jail. So not to say that your comment is incorrect or bad necessarily. It's true. However, that's not what we need to project or look forward to. We need to snatch them up now and say, before they get caught up in the street, they need to learn who they are. At the end of the day, they're a child of God. They are a child of God. And if they choose not to do what God wants them to do, then they become a child of the devil. We have to make it not religious-y because they hear old people talk about that type of stuff all the time. If you speak their language, you get them to better understand it. Help them regulate their nervous system. Help them to calm down. Introduce them to new music. Introduce them to new environments. If they, like, there's plenty of places in the hood where people can go and just chill. Instead, the places that are marketed the most are the places where people are rowdy and always a high energy. So it's like when you teach children to chill and calm down, to meditate, whether they're meditating within themselves, meditating on the word of God, meditating with music on, that introduces them to a new level of consciousness so they don't have to be dealt with in the streets. You know what I'm saying? Roasted Raging sent 100. Much gratitude. I appreciate that so much. Herbie said, what do you think? Oh, okay. Cowboy Christian McCarthy said, this year I had to give someone a life lesson. Took his right eye. He physically disrespected, and I love my black people. Okay, well, that's unfortunate. I don't like that had to happen. If it was self-defense, I understand. I Knew the Chosen said, I neither goddess. How about altars for the lost loved ones like your great grandfathers? Yeah. Yeah. I think those are okay within context, so we don't want to do idolization of ancestors because they're not to be idolized. They are to be communicated with and utilized for the right reasons. I connected with that particular entity in order to bring forth answers that we didn't have before. So therefore, I did have them on my altar for a period of time. I took them off once the mission was complete in that context. Having an altar that forever essentially immortalizes a person that is deceased, that is where I think issues come up. And that's where idolization comes in. And that's what the Bible does not want us to do. And I understand why. Like, people get kind of weird about their ancestors when they are not understanding the context. Like, everybody has a mission. If there is an ancestor that's stuck in purgatory or limbo, you have to help them cross over. So you don't keep them there because you're going to keep them in purgatory and limbo. Cowboy Christian McCarthy said, I'm half native, so I know the history. Okay. Gratitude again, Roasted Ranger, for sending that 100. You said gatekeeping at its finest. Ooh, which part was the gatekeeping? Which part? Because I want to talk about gatekeeping. End times, you not lying. 2020, it was over. Uh, nah, you smart as fuck, man. I would have been up, man. I appreciate it because it's like I peeped the whole thing. I'm a content creator, but I wasn't like a leader teacher that everybody, everybody was trying to be a leader or a teacher. I'm just a content creator. I was a vlogger back in the day and I was a model. So I'm just like, I'm gonna be cute on the camera and do my thing in real life. And a lot of people got stuck on the camera part because they were trying to do stuff for other people when it's like, no, just do your own thing. You don't have to be involved with people. You don't have to try to lead people. No offense, but fuck everybody. Like, do what you need to do for yourself. If people follow along, join in, cool. But it doesn't have to be about that. That's the part where people got stuck. Cowboy said, I stayed on my grind. That's good. Roaster Rigid, I appreciate you so much for the 100s. Facts Goddess. Cowboy said, I did laugh. Yeah, I'm young too. I've been working on myself. That's good. Herbs and animal. Oh, herbs and animals are life. Legalized dream. Um, I don't know what any of those herbs are. I know cannabis. I know hemp. I know mushrooms. I don't know about those, and I don't want to say anything that'll trigger anything online. But yeah, I see you're herbalist, so interesting. A cowboy sent a flower. Much gratitude. I know the chosen said Ashe. So yeah, yeah. But I have to pull up the facts on that. I'm like, y'all gave that lady 3.5 months to campaign. It's just that whole situation was so dumb to me. Like, y'all gave that lady 3.5 months to campaign. Laughed at that man getting shot. And didn't expect him to win and then go on a revenge tour. I'm not understanding. Not understanding. So at that time, it was just meant for everybody to just buckle down and be serious about, okay, regardless of what's going to happen, we're going to focus here. I was talking to my purpose partner about this too. It's like, I had seen a dude say this on TikTok. I saved his video. I forgot who the content creator was. It was over a year ago. He was talking about this is the issue. It's an ego issue. That's all it is. It's not a money issue. It's not a financial issue. It's not an economic issue. It's an ego issue. He said black people need to master trash. So you got Jewish people who are typically financiers and in the legal system. You have white people who are white collar, corporate. You have Asian people who they do a mix of things, whether that's food, um, certain cultural aspects, or like corner stores, gas stations, stuff like that. And then you have African people. They have a different array of doing things. They're into the mining systems, and then certain other aspects of business. They do a lot of things internationally. And he was like, black people in America need to master trash. And everybody in the comments, they showed why black people haven't matured. It's not a progression. They showed why black people have not matured. A lot of black people in today's time are fine with struggling to get into spaces that DEI allowed them to be in. They're okay with that struggle rather than honing in on something that a lot of people are already within the trash industry. Honing in on something that we already have a grip on. So me and my purpose partner were talking about sanitation and transportation. So the dude who was on TikTok who was talking about how black people need to master trash, if black people took the biggest grip on sanitation alone, it would change a lot of things, because you still have the legal system in that every industry has a legal system, an economic system, a community system, and then ways to market and network with others. So other industries altogether. So, because they make contracts with all these different companies. So it's like sanitation, keeping the streets clean. What is the biggest problem in the hood? Pollution. Whether it's air pollution, noise pollution, or physical pollution that people are putting on the ground, that's a huge issue in the hood or ghetto areas. And recycling. So whether the citizens themselves are recycling or not, if that area was just taken over by Black American people, that would change the trajectory of what is happening within spaces like in the hood and the ghetto. But people don't want to be in those spaces because of pride. It's not like, oh, because, qualifications. What degree do you need? What experience do you need? What references do you need to get jobs in sanitation and the trash industry? What qualifications do you like? What's going on here? But those are not sought after jobs because of pride. Sanitation and transportation. So if you tell, I'm I'm just being truthful and laying out the scenario. If you tell a master's degree holding Black man, hey, go pursue a career in the trash industry and sanitation, he gonna try to beat you up. Like he gonna be upset. He gonna be angry. Like, no, why would I do that? I got my degree. I got my master's degree, and da 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 da. And at the end of the day, the neighborhood you grew up in is horrendous looking. The people who live there currently don't care about it not one bit. You moved out, moved to the suburbs, got your cushy job at a white corporation that you were able to get through DEI policies. And you don't care about where you came from. When you could have the same salary and position in the trash industry, because like I said, every industry has the same levels. You have the ground workers, you have management, you have supervisors, you have the contract workers, you have the financiers, you have the legal team, you have the CEOs, the CFOs, the CIOs, and you have the founders of the company. Every industry is the exact same in the American system. In the American business system, every industry is the exact same when you have these levels of who you are as a person. But because of pride, people don't want to do it. When, if that was the goal and the direction that people were taking, people would take the opportunity. People would take the opportunity to do it if it made sense to them financially, and it would rid a lot of the issues. You're talking about, it's like, let's say it's like 5 blocks of just completely littered streets in a Black neighborhood. And every single person has some sort of position in the sanitation business. So whether they pick up the actual trash once a week on their runs, or they do like by hand or by foot, they're walking around picking up the trash and the pollution. They're part of the recycling management team. They're part of getting those recycled goods into industries so that they can use those materials for, like, there's so many things that could happen. Get everybody employed in that context. Boom, no more litter. And everybody comes up financially. Because sanitation is a government contract. Sanitation is always needed. There was a strike in New Jersey earlier this year, and it was terrible. For sanitation, they did a whole strike because I think the pay was wrong, and they needed to get an increase in pay, so the union striked. Sanitation is always needed. There is no replacing sanitation, because even recycling does not replace sanitation. There's some things you just can't recycle. It's all part of the same industry. So, that's the type of stuff that people still aren't quite ready to hear yet, because it's like, well, if I worked hard, then I should be able to be like, you're wanting white acceptance. Because if it was about money, you can get work in sanitation and make really, really good money. That's not what the issue is. It's a pride thing. It's the ego thing. You don't want the label of, oh, I'm so and so at sanitation company. For what? It doesn't matter. All these folks that got hired through DEI fired in 1 year. Displaced. Salaries cut. So what are we talking about? You want acceptance into white spaces so that you can say that you're making the same money as white people. You can make the exact same money in sanitation or transportation. The exact same job position too. But thinking about it in that way, in that context, people don't want to do it. They haven't gotten to that point yet. Leroy Adams put an angry face in a TV. Cowboy said that's why he took the food stamps away. Trump wants respect and power. Yeah, Under the Chosen said Trump. Drippy dog with the ... What's a ... And Cowboy said Louisiana as a whole has a dirty water pollution. Has a dirty water problem, SMH. Mo Pork said, can you quit yapping? People on the internet are always so interesting. You know, there's free will, right? You can scroll. You can change your own screen. I did not take your phone and put myself on it. Myself is over here on my own screen. You chose to be here and put me on your screen so you can just scroll. So Louisiana, for an example. Louisiana is right at the base of the Mississippi River and the Gulf of Mexico. So them having dirty water, like, it's like, okay. Because recycling and pollution all go hand in hand. The trash drains down the Mississippi River, producing dirty water. So all the dirty water goes to Louisiana. It's nasty. If that was taken care of by black people, it would be fixed. Because that's supposed to be a government issue. You know, Flint, Michigan, having dirty water for who knows how long and not having clean water for the citizens. It doesn't make sense to not have clean water to use. But it's not seen as a government issue enough. So therefore, the government doesn't take care of it because they don't care. However, if black people specifically capitalize upon that, then it would be taken care of because there's a group of people who understand the issue, are affected by the issue because, like I said, the hoods and the ghettos are where these issues happen the most, and then properly position themselves economically to sustain what's happening. That's how that issue is resolved. And that's what I was talking about too with the service that I was saying. If you're an individual, I would not recommend it for you. But if you are an organization or represent an organization, the protocol DEI to ESG, I did do a live stream for my members to explain DEI to ESG. But I am offering that service as well for a more extensive explanation of it. So that's what that's about. It's like, instead of being like, okay, we're black, so y'all need to do this, or we're women, so y'all need to do this, the government has clearly said, we don't care about none of that. Okay, so go international and say, we're helping the environment. There's no block for that. That's the whole thing. That's what I'm saying. There is no block for environmental assistance. There is very obviously a block to help black people and to help women. So therefore, don't say I'm black. Don't say I'm a woman. Just say I'm helping the environment. And there goes all your issues are taken care of. Amen. Amen. Chill out. Chill out. Mo Pork said, you trying be white so bad. All right then. Cowboy said, "Yeah, I used to volunteer to clean up back in elementary school. We tried." Mopork said, "Trying to sound white so bad." Oh, that's what you were saying. Okay. Cowboy said, Mopork, you want a cookie? Okay, I see. Yeah, and like doing the volunteer work, that's cool, and it is needed at the same at the same time. That's why I said economically capitalizing off of it, that is what will change the game. There's of course there's black people who work in sanitation. At the same time, there's not many black people who have equity within the sanitation business, within the sanitation industry. Like, okay, then here we're gonna go to the other levels of it. I'm not gonna say too much, but when you get into the levels of being traded on the stock market, when you get into the levels of, okay, distribution, when you get into the levels of manufacturing, that is also tied to sanitation. That's what I'm saying. It gets bigger and bigger because every industry in the United States operates the same. You have the ground level people who don't need a degree or even a high school diploma to do their job. You have management, you know, high school diploma, GED, associate's degree. You have supervisors, they might have an associate's or bachelor's degree. Then you get higher and higher, your master's degree holders, and then you get your founders and all the rest of your people. They have different certifications. Some of them don't have a degree at all. They're just very talented in business. Everybody has a place. You have your financiers, like I say, you can trade on the stock market. You have your legal team. You have to make sure that if you have a certain slogan that has to be trademarked. You have certain logos, those have to be trademarked. If you are educating about what it is you're doing, if you're helping the environment intentionally with sanitation, you have to have your publishing taken care of. Like, you get what I mean? Every company, every like main major company operates the same. So by honing in on that while helping the black community is how to get out of the issue. That's what God's been trying to say. It's like y'all, like really, God is saying y'all made a huge mess, clean it up. And it's like, oh well, we were enslaved. It's not our fault. It's our fault that we got enslaved in the first place because we were being disobedient to God. We over here doing crazy stuff. That's all that is. That's all that is. Herbs and animals are life. I do not know what those emojis are supposed to be. Mopork said, "Why you keep talking about black people? The fuck." Okay. Cowboy says nowadays all of us needs our GED or diploma. Of course, of course. You know, I'm just saying. Like some people can still get jobs. Like I think a lot of people still get jobs without GEDs or diplomas from high school. You say you have a job, okay? Mopork said, "Cowboy, go eat a cactus." Okay. um, I'll entertain this from Mopork. The fact is pork. Um, I'll entertain this question. Why do I keep talking about black people? I am black, and I am a black historian. For my lineage, to introduce you to my work, here I am speaking at a Juneteenth event where research was done for my lineage and my family, and I am through this event in partnership with a civil rights and restorative justice group. That's what their name is called. And so, therefore, we help Black Americans all across the country. So, that is why I'm talking about Black people. And I also was talking about Black people and spirituality years ago. Mopork said, "Who cares?" You care because you asked the question. I answered your question. You said, "Why do I keep talking about Black people?" I just answered your question. You care to answer the next question. Who cares? You do because you asked the question. I was just answering your question. The internet is so fun. No, you talking down on black people. Hold on. Cowboy said, "Mo so sweet, Mo care." People on the internet are so interesting. I know. The thing is, okay, Cowboy says she not though, laughing because it's hilarious. Because the thing is, it's like people like that. It could go one of two ways. They're intentionally trolling, or they don't have the comprehension skills to understand what I'm saying. So they think I'm talking down on black people because I am saying that everybody should be okay with what's going on and respect the fact that we have the power to not be controlled by everything happening. And when you put power back in people's hands, they take it offensively because, like the title of my essay series, Better Than Reparations. Well, we're owed reparations. It doesn't matter. They were supposed to give it to us generations ago. They didn't. So, therefore, be thankful for the information that we have, expand and expound on the information that we can find, and then go on about giving our own selves reparations, economically dominating these certain areas that nobody is eager to take over. It's simple. It's putting power back into the people's hands. But when that happens, oh, you're talking white, you sound white, you're talking down on black people. I mean, that's just nigga shit. Like that, your brain is not comprehending what I'm saying, and that's not, honestly, it's not even their fault all the way. They weren't taught well in school to comprehend things and to have critical thinking skills. That's why I said, even with my example of talking about the trash industry, it's an ego thing. You tell somebody to go work in the trash industry. Oh, I'm not doing that shit. I ain't doing that. Well, why not? You can make more money there than working at this white corporation that's only tolerating you due to DEI. Oh, whoops, they removed the DEI policies. Now you can't get a job there. All DEI did was put minorities, because it's not just black people, but I'm speaking from a black American female perspective. All it did for black people specifically was put the attention back on the black community and say, okay, all these black owned businesses, are y'all hiring? All these black owned businesses, are y'all pivoting? All these black owned businesses, are you partnering with other black owned businesses and nonprofit organizations? That's all it did. That's all it was supposed to do. Did the administration intend that? No, they just didn't want black people in their spaces anymore. And that's why I said the only reason people were able to get those cushy jobs, specifically white collar or just in corporations owned by white people, is because of DEI. When a company is no longer expected to have diversity, equity, or inclusion of others, they don't want others around. They'll hire their own, even if they're less qualified. But now that it's not legally required, they don't have to deal with us. We shouldn't have to deal with them either. That's all that's being said. That's all that being said. Now, what I can't understand is how people could rebuttal and be like, okay, well, we were doing that before, then the KKK came and all this other stuff. Okay, once we start seeing sabotage like the KKK again, that's when we need to have that mentality. That does not need to block us from making movements. And that's the part where a lot of people don't understand. Like, you don't have to get stuck because white people prevented a lot of things, okay? Yes, in the past, that was true. They assassinated a lot of people. They incarcerated a lot of people who were helping our people, and that's understood. At the same time, in today's time, we could set up defense mechanisms because we understand things better now. Back then, we didn't know that was going to happen. But now we know that it's a possibility. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Okay, well, they're going to play dirty. They kicked us out. So we're going to do our own thing. And because we know how they behave, once we start doing our own thing after kicking us out of their space, we're just going to create defense mechanisms and be like, well, no, we're not going to go for that. Not this go around. And that's the mentality that everyone needs to have. Now, are there going to be individuals and organizations that are good, that are from the other side? Yes, absolutely. At the same time, being blindsided is not an option. being taken advantage of is not an option. That's what I'm saying. What the heck? Booger Cream said, I like my blacks racist. Okay. Mopework said, Cowboy, keep choking on the cactus. Cowboy said, just sit back and study her. She not a MAGA or a Candace. I like Candace, but I understand what you're saying. No, there's not MAGA over here. Because the thing is, okay, you gotta ask the question. How and why was America great? Because of slavery. Not to laugh, it's not funny, but America was great because of slavery. Without slave labor and cheap labor, America would have never been great. America was built up because of slavery. So it's like, okay, well, make America great again. Okay, black people need to do that. So, how do black people do that for ourselves and not the general population of Americans? And so, once that mindset is understood fully, that's how things can progress. But this whole thing of like intentionally being within these spaces with people who obviously don't like us and obviously don't want us to prosper in certain ways, because it's like you can do good, but not better than them. That's how they are. That's how they see black Americans. Like we're not supposed to be highly successful individuals in their eyes. And that's okay. It doesn't matter. Cuz again, what's the American dream? Oh, a house with a white picket fence and a car and vacations every so often throughout the year. That's the American dream. Is that the American dream for all Americans and all black Americans? I don't think so. I feel like, having a farm, and even if it's not specifically a farm, just owning land where you're not dealing with people all the time, like having a city home, having a rural or country home, or a cottage, even like if you're in a forest. Like I said, it doesn't have to be a farm, but if you're in a forest surrounded by trees, you know what I'm saying? Like that makes sense. Being able to move around in today's time, remote work, working from home, both the man and the woman. The man fulfills his masculine duties in different ways than just going out and doing things physically all the time. He still does his stuff like around the house, fixing things or working on cars, stuff like that. But like, there's a different understanding of what the American dream can be. Owning a boat, not like a fishing boat. It's easy to get like fishing boats, but I mean like owning like a nice boat to just like have an outing. That's not what the American dream is that's sold to people. My aspect of living the American dream, owning multiple properties, having, my cash car that I just do whatever I want to do with, and then having my luxury car when I feel like doing things that more upscale when I'm in the city, owning a boat, and having a business. Most people don't even think about having a business when they think about the American dream. The American dream is entrepreneurship. You're able to do those things under entity names instead of having everything in your personal name type situation. It's a whole different mentality that black people weren't even allowed to have the American dream. Black people were sold, you're going to work this job until you die and die in an apartment. Or you're going to be on government assistance and never own anything, and your kids are going to be stuck in a government assistance as well. You're going to be stuck with having a baby mama or baby daddy, and you're never going to get married. That's the American dream that's sold to black people. And people buy it. That's the unfortunate part. I don't understand how people just be buying it. I've seen it over and over again, and whether it's in my own personal experience or just hearing stories about other people. Black people bought the worst story of being an American person, and it's like understood because we're slave descendants. At the same time, we don't have to still live in a slave mentality. You're just going to work until you die. We don't have to live that way anymore. Do I believe in retirement? No. I do believe in retiring from a career. I don't believe in retiring, period, forever. So just understand what I mean. If you work at a place for 20 years and then you retire from that place, whether you get a pension or retirement, whatever, 401k, Roth IRA, whatever, then you go and you start your own business, or you work at a different job that gives you more flexibility in your retirement, yes, I totally agree with that. I totally agree with that. Work until you die doing what you want to do, not work until you die doing slave labor, doing physical labor. That's not okay. Mopork said, cowgirl eat a cat." That's crazy. You're just. I'm gonna put you in timeout in a minute because I. Okay, we get it now. Well, now what? You just talking? Yeah, you gonna get put in timeout. Liz Randall said, "Is that a wig hat?" No, I have a sew-in. David Gonzalez said, "Hi, hello." Morepork says, "So you saying taking advantage of a human, make America great? You weird. You not black, or you don't want to be black." Okay. Cowboy said, "Because most of them are raised to feel more superior than us." Yeah, exactly. Uh, Beam said, "What world and wildlife, huh? What world and wildlife, especially not well, Donald Trump and there." I don't know what you're saying. What world and wildlife? No. Mopork said, "Talk about white people, ho. You ain't say anything about white person, ho." I'm not white, so I'm not gonna talk about white people. Henry Young said, "Bae, no." Mopork said, "All you doing is yapping." Cowboy said, "Do you believe in reincarnation?" Yes. Okay, I'm gonna how do you oh, there we go. Okay. I put Mopork in timeout because he's just annoying and I don't wanna deal with his comments with mixing up with y'all's comments. But yes, I do believe in reincarnation. People come back through their lineage. And so I know people like to debate about that. They may not believe it if they are Bible believers. At the same time, even in the Bible, it says, "And he had the spirit of," and they talk about a deceased person. You know what I'm saying? Like, people try to deny these things because of terminology. Like, is the word reincarnation in the Bible? No, obviously not. At the same time, the Bible says phrases along the lines of, "And this child was born and they had the spirit of this person that passed away," or "This child will be born and they will have the spirit of that person that's still alive, and then they're going to pass away once the child gets of a certain age." Like, that's reincarnation. I don't be understanding why people reject these things just because of terminology. Like, the word meditate freaks people out, even though the word meditate is in the Bible. The word matrix is in the Bible. People still freak out over that word. Like, people get weirded out by crystals. Is the word crystal in the Bible? No, but the word stone is. Specific crystals are named in the Bible. Let me pull up a list of crystals that are in the Bible. Everything we learned in New Age is in the Bible. That's the part that be blowing me. I'm like, why is everybody freaking out over these terminologies? Okay, we got jasper, sapphire, topaz. We got diamonds, rubies, emeralds, onyx, amethyst. Okay? All those are mentioned in the Bible. So saying that crystals in general are not biblical is not true. The purpose in which you use these materials, that is what is, you know, uh, a negative depiction of divination or seen as ungodly or demonic. What is your intention and why are you doing things? Are you hexing people with your crystals? Are you putting someone in a bind with your crystals? Are you wearing your crystals on your body with the intention of distorting someone else's energy? Okay? You know what I'm saying? Like, it's the intention behind it and the meaning behind what it is you're holding. They used these stones to build God's temples, the holy of holies. Let me. I don't be playing. Hold on. What was the? Okay. It says the Holy of Holies in Solomon's temple was built from massive stone, but its inner surfaces were completely hidden, overlaid with cedar wood carved with designs, and then covered with pure gold. Gold is a mineral, it's a stone. You can have gold, you can have silver, and you can have those things as your crystals and stones. The floor also had a special foundation stone. The walls and structure quarried stone hidden by cedar and gold, inner covering, carved cedar boards, then pure gold plating. The veil, um, perochet, a barrier woven with blue, purple, scarlet, and fine linen, featuring cherubim separating it from the holy place. The ark, the main object inside, made of acacia wood overlaid with gold, with a solid gold mercy seat, lid, and two cherubim. Foundation stone, a significant stone uh, that even Hashetia that protruded from the floor where the ark rested. Okay? So, buildings of gold, buildings of silver, not the idols, because that was again why the children of Israel got in trouble. They built a gold idol uh, made into the shape of a calf. What are we worshiping calves for? I don't know. But our people did it. That's why we got in so much trouble all the time. Building the altar for God is what the gold and the crystals and the stones were used for, not to idolize other things or other people. That's what people miss. It still blows me that people don't make these correlations. All you do, if you read every theological like book, holy book, spiritual book of study, everything says the same thing all the time. It's all the same story. There was a specific group of people who are special. Everybody else is welcome to commune with them. At the same time, those people are given favor when the special people mess up. It's the same story. God favors this group of people, but they keep disrespecting him, so he has to punish them. It's the exact same thing. So that's why, like, even the demonization of certain practices and certain materials, God frowns upon that too. What do you mean you're gonna call? You got an amethyst crystal? That's evil. That's demonic. So it was evil for them to use it to create the ephod. Let me. I will keep going. I'm gonna read y'all's comments in a second. Hold on. I'm gonna get. Okay, I'm gonna read that in a second. Okay. Roasting Raging said 100 Cowboys said we can't disprove that God comes from space. Tony Danza Banana Bonanza said that hat with the white background wasn't the best choice. It's my light. It's my light. I have my studio light on. I peeped that earlier, but I'm okay. You know what I'm saying? It's not that important. That's funny. But exactly, can't disprove it because it just is what it like. That's why I wrote a book. You know what I'm saying? When I say things, I make it make so much sense that it can't be argued with. Like the little nigga that got put in timeout, he was just saying bullshit, so I couldn't keep responding to that person because what they were saying wasn't making any sense. I make so much sense that you can't argue with what I'm saying. I only speak when I'm right. People ask me questions in the comments, and I said I'm too ignorant to answer that question. Who I don't have enough information to answer that question. I'm not in the place of this person, so I can't speak from their perspective. And then I move on. I'm black and I'm an American and I'm a woman, so I'm going to speak the correctness of that stance. I can't be argued with. That's why a lot of people started being weird to me a few years ago. That was what I was talking about when 2022 came around. It was no longer who's on their spiritual journey. It was, let's all try to be more spiritual than the next person. And it's like that's not even spirituality at that point. That's just nigga shit. That's all that. But anyway, like I said, I was right because I am. The ephod. What is an ephod? An ephod was a priestly vestment in ancient Israel, famously made from rich materials for the high priest. Gold threads woven into fine linen, blue, purple, and scarlet dyed wool, featuring shoulder pieces. And then it goes into the 12 tribes with onyx stones engraved. So you have attached to the ephod, made of the same materials, holding the Urim and Thummim. And if you research that, that goes into the. I'll just do a separate search on that so y'all can understand. Like, the stuff that we learned in New Age is in the Bible already. So there's nothing new about New Age. It's just been taken out of context and been depicted as demonic because people use it for the wrong reasons. Okay? Um, and set with 12 precious stones: sardonyx, topaz, emerald, carbuncle, jasper, sapphire, ligure, amethyst, agate, chrysoprase, onyx, beryl. For the tribes, each crystal represented a tribe, just like the zodiac signs represent a tribe. The 12 disciples represent a tribe. It's all symbolism. It's all numerology. Okay, so let me look this up for y'all real quick. I really appreciate the comments too. These are some good conversations y'all are having. Okay. All right. Alexa Ante Yahudi. I don't know what that is. Mopork said, wow, that's the fact you came back. I put you in timeout for 10 minutes and you stayed. That's why did you stay? You wanted me to stop talking, so I prevented you from talking, and then you stayed for 10 minutes. That's crazy. Um, all right, so Urim and Thummim were sacred biblical artifacts like stones or objects housed in the high priest's breastplate, used by ancient Israelites to discern God's will, functioning as an oracle for important national decisions, often by revealing yes no answers through light or protruding letters. Though their exact nature and appearance remained mysterious in scripture and ceased use after the First Temple era, replaced by prophets. Okay? So, how they functioned: oracle, used for divine communication, similar to casting lots. So, let's look up casting lots, okay? And I want y'all to be able to research that. Hold on, let me get the spelling up, because I know the pronunciation is kind of crazy. Urim and Thummim. So whenever people tell you stuff like, oh, you have charms, or you have tarot cards, or you have runes, or you have, like, they say everything's demonic. Okay, just be like, okay, so what about Urim, Thummim, and casting lots? They're gonna be like, what's that? That's exactly what they're gonna say, because niggas don't do their research. Casting lots, okay, is an ancient method of random selection, like flipping a coin or drawing straws, used to make decisions, divide property, or determine guilt, often with the belief it revealed divine will. Okay? How it worked. Well, first, hold on. Prominently featured in the Bible for tasks like dividing the promised land or selecting Matthias as an apostle, it provided an impartial way to seek God's guidance before the New Testament era, after which direct guidance through the Holy Spirit became the preferred method for Christians. So, how it worked, objects could be marked stones, sticks of different lengths, pottery shards, or dice. Okay? Process thrown or drawn, with the outcome interpreted as a divine decision, settling disputes or assigned roles. Okay? I'm not trying to be crazy. It's with my talking and I'm being all exaggerated. I'm just saying, like, the stuff in New Age is nothing new. This has been going on. It's in the Bible. There's no reason to call anyone demonic. If someone's cursing somebody and being like, when I roll these dice and then I get this number, you're gonna be cursed. Okay, that's bad. That's bad. Don't do that. But if you're making, okay, like the conversation we were having earlier about legacy building amongst the family and, you know, whatever. Let's say someone passes away, a family inherits $100,000 off their insurance policy or from the savings account, retirement, whatever. If they get the $100,000 and they're trying to figure out what to do with that $100,000 as a Black American family, and they have a list of suggestions, they take the ones that make the most sense. Buying a new car is not, no, unless you're paying cash and you're paying $5,000 to $10,000 cash and you're not getting a note. No, don't do that shit. Please don't do that. Cause getting a car note on a luxury car at $100,000, just that's dumb. Buy a cash car from $5,000 to $10,000 or less if you can get a good deal on a properly running vehicle. I just have to. That's my spiel on that dumb shit that people be doing. When that family gets that money and they have a list of things that they want to do, it's like, well, we should buy property. No, we should buy stocks. Well, no, we should buy investments in this area. No, we should start a family business. They could take it to God directly. They can read whatever scriptures they need to read. Okay. They can petition and write down their exact ideas. They can cast lots and make it random or do a percentage of each one. It's like, okay, well, what's the most important one? Cast lots. Okay, that one's the most important, so we're going to allocate 60% there. This one's secondary. We'll do 20% there. Then this one came in third. So we're going to do 10% and everything else get 5% allocated to it if they decide to do that. Or they could just do 5%, everybody get cash each or whatever, however the rest of the math is divided up. You know what I'm saying? There were ways to take care of these things because then you have the concept of false prophets nowadays. Well, how do you solve that? Go back to the Old Testament. Go back to casting lots. That's the part that I began lost at. It's like, well, in this spiritual situation or whatever, this person said this and that didn't happen. Like, I'm gonna go into my Trump tangent in a second about what happened when he got elected or when he lost that other election. But it's like, okay, if you can't trust the words that a person is saying, then take it directly to God and do what they did in the Old Testament. If the New Testament is not working out for you, go back to the Old Testament. Make sure you're following the commandments, the full list of them. Yeah, the 613 commandments, okay? Make sure you're in alignment and hearing God absolutely clearly. And if that's not working, then cast lots. Do what you need to do. Then that's it. There's no more questions. Like the questions that people have and the confusion, it just doesn't make sense to me. So this is what I'm saying about people who have like issues with prophecy and like false prophets and whatnot. So in 2020, when the other election was happening, people got so upset in the Christian community. I was paying attention heavily to the Christians at the time. They got upset because they believed that Donald Trump was going to win his second presidency. People were even saying things along the lines of, I lost my faith in Christianity because of this situation. Oh, you're a false prophet. You prophesied that Trump was going to win his second term and he didn't. Like, oh, this people's not denominations, people's ministries got torn apart. over an election. And I was like, your faith in God should not have been altered due to an election. A presidential election made you question your relationship with God? That's so weird. And then come to find out, the prophets were correct. He just did not win his second term continuously. He skipped a an election and then won his second term. So the prophets were correct. They just, I can't even say the timing was wrong. The timing wasn't wrong. God did not give them false messages. It's the fact that people assumed that the second term, if you go to God and pray, or at the time, if people were to go to God and pray, is Donald Trump going to get his second election? And God says yes. They're correct. When it's going to happen, that wasn't up to anyone to decide. So the Christians got all up in arms about what was going to happen during that election, just for the man to get elected again. Are people issuing apologies to those prophets? Are they issuing apologies to the ministries that they destroyed because of the false prophecies that they believed were false? No. Maybe some are, but quietly. It's not viral. That's not common information you're hearing about. Like, I would hope that people's relationships and God were restored before this point, but to even question God about a presidential election, why was it that important? Everything you do should be regardless of what the government does anyway. So, that's all we're gonna talk about today. I do have to call these people, like I said, because I got to figure out what's going on with this situation. But yeah, if y'all have any more questions or comments that you want to make, you can go ahead and leave them. I'm about to close this out. I appreciate y'all for being here and doing some work with me, and then we're just, looking at this information here. I think I came to the spiritual community to just debunk everything, not to call people out and be like, you're exposed for saying that's false information. I didn't care about the information that people were sharing, and I didn't care to tag people and be like, I think what you're saying is false. It was more so, I'm going to curate this space over here, let people know, hey, there's no reason to hate the Bible. Everything we're doing is in the Bible. It's just, are you on the good side or bad side of things? Are you being angelic? Are you being demonic? Are you being an individual who is quote unquote spreading the gospel, letting people know that you can do good actions, you can follow the commandments, you can believe in Christ for whatever extent, whether you're related to Christ or not, whether you're part of the 12 tribes or not, everyone can believe in Christ? Or are you here causing havoc and wreaking havoc upon people? Because that's what a lot of the New Agers were doing. A lot of the New Agers were wreaking havoc upon people. That's why they had no problem saying things like, oh, F the Bible and all that stuff. So, you know what I'm saying? But okay, if y'all don't have any more comments or anything, I'm going to go ahead and go. I appreciate you all for being here. Yeah. See? Okay. Shalom, Rainicorns. I will see you. Oh, hold on. Okay. Albert Gaines said, nah. Okay, all right. Shalom, Rainicorns. I will see you in the next one. Tawada, and that means thank you in Hebrew.